everyone, my name is Jeff Jenkins, and this is Chubby Diaries Presents Inspired 2021. We all know that 2020 has been a crazy year. So my whole purpose of this limited series podcast is to motivate and encourage people to be able to pursue their dreams and goals for 2021. I hope that y'all enjoy these 10 amazing guests, and here we go. You can also download these episodes on all the major streaming platforms like Apple, Spotify, and Google. And then also check us out on IG at chubbydiaries__ and on our website at chubbydiaries.com. Here we go. Hello, everyone. My name is Jeff Jenkins, and this is Inspire 2021. Today, we have an amazing guest with us. Her name is Monet. She is the owner and operator of The Traveling Child. We'll talk more about it in a second. But yeah, I'm so glad that we have Monet on today. She's a content creator. She is a guru when it comes down to producing some high quality, valuable content. And she's just literally, I think I talk to you so much, like we actually talk a lot, but she's a really good friend of mine. And I had to get her on because I know she has gems and nuggets that will be so beneficial if you're trying to grow your audience and just even when it comes down to content. So welcome, Monet.
Thank you so much for having me, Jeff.
Of course. I'm glad that you're here. You know what, Monet? I'm just going to start right off the bat. I want to know, tell the people, what inspired you to start The Traveling Child?
It was actually my friend Paula's idea. I honestly thought it was dumb. When I was, right when I had Kennedy, we were actually planning a trip. We were going to Colombia. She was going to be 10 weeks old. And my friend Paula had came over and we were talking. So she's like, you should really start an Instagram about your travels with the girls. And I was like, no, nobody wants to see that. She was like, no, seriously, Monet, like you've been traveling with Jordan, like since she was born. Now you're going on an international destination with your second child at 10 weeks old. There are so many parents that think travel is impossible once they have kids. You know, you see all these articles that are like, oh, make sure you travel before you have kids, because once you do, your life is over and all these other things. And she's like, I've seen you, like, look how many places you've gone with Jordan. Look how many places you've gone with Jordan while pregnant with Kennedy. Like, I think it would be powerful for other, parents or people that want to be parents, that want this life, but think that it's impossible. So I was like, okay, I thought about it for a few weeks and I was like, all right, I mean, what's the worst that can happen?
Right.
I didn't want people to be like, oh, you're just trying to show off, like, oh, look at me and my family, But I really wanted to make sure it was like educational and that I was providing tips and making it easier for parents to do the same thing that we're doing if that's something that they were interested in.
So quick question for you, just on top of that, what were you doing before? Did you actually have like a 9-to-5 before you got into this?
Oh, of course, yes. I still have these degrees around here that I don't use. So I actually majored in sports management. When I graduated, I was working from grad school. I was working for the Oakland A's for a little while, decided that I absolutely hated working in baseball. So I actually was a recruiter. At first, I was recruiting architects and interior designers in New York City. When we moved to Florida, I actually worked for Royal Caribbean, hiring the entertainment staff on board the ships. And then in October 2018 was when I decided to move from that and do this full time, which I still pinch myself every day, like, how is this even possible? But yes, that's what I was doing before this.
Did y'all hear that? What? And Monet, I am so blown right now because I did not know you did all that. And so to even go from that and transition over to a full-time content creator, just real quick, like can you give us like what made you just be like, you know what, I'm going for it?
Honestly, for me, it's just like, especially having kids, like, not saying that people without kids don't have these same aspirations, but like one moment for me especially was like, my oldest daughter, she was in pre-K at the time. So obviously not like something like super extravagant like your college or high school graduation, but I remember she had a ceremony for her preschool graduation. And, you know, of course, you have to ask your boss if you can go to things. So I asked my boss, and she was like, it's fine, like you can go. But she's like, but we have a meeting with the new like VP of our department that day. So you have to come back at this time because we're having lunch with her. So I go, like, I'm there for the ceremony, but then afterwards they have a lunch for the parents. And I couldn't stay because I had to go to work, and it's like 30 minutes away from home to go to this meeting. So Jordan is like begging me to stay. She's like, but all the other parents are staying. And like my mom came, but still it was like she was asking me to stay, you know? And like I just basically tried my best not to cry in front of her, but like, you know, tearing up like, wow, I have to go. So then I left. I drove all the way to downtown Miami. This new VP sat with us for maybe 5 minutes and then was like, oh, she has another meeting that she has to go to, and left. So I left something that my daughter thought was extremely important, to have to go to the office for this meeting for this person to leave. And for me, it was just like missing out on those moments and having to like ask someone like, hey, my child is sick, can I take them to the doctor? Like, you know, like I understand it's a reality for so many people. I live that life, but for me, that was like, okay, I need to, what can I do to push myself even further to be able to work for myself? So the only person I have to ask is me.
Come on.
You know, because I want to be there for those, you know, those moments for them as much as I can. So that was just like, I guess, the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah, and wow. And just like that work-life balance, and then just deciding like, hey, I want to actually not let like other influences like dictate my life, but I want to be able to take my life into my own hands. And I feel like that's the same thing I've done. So with that, it's what, you said October 2018?
October 2018.
So October 2018, like talk us through October 2018 to now. Like do you think you would have amassed this amount of like following and working with all these different brands? Like, did you actually think that this was a possibility and you would be where you're at today?
I mean, you always dream,
yes,
but you never really imagine. I mean, even when I quit, I was terrified. Like, I had two of my friends that were like, oh, you should do it. My mom was like, oh, you should do it. It's the perfect time. My husband was like, yeah, you should do it. And I'm like, first of my friends, I was like, y'all gonna pay my mortgage if this don't work out? Because y'all talking about you should just do this. You should just do this. But I will say that, like, the work that you do before leading up to that moment is what catapults you into being successful. I was doing all the things, I was making all the sacrifices, and at that point, I honestly, once I quit, I realized that that job was holding me back, because there's no way I could be where I am now if I was still working there. And it's crazy because like 2 weeks after I quit, I got the biggest campaign I had ever gotten before. And to me, it was kind of like a sign, like, oh, you let something go and then you can prosper in the things that you really want to do. So I think a lot of times it's very nerve-wracking, but you have to trust yourself. You have to trust the process. You have to trust the hard work that you've put in, because none of this is luck. I mean, obviously there's lucky people, but I can say, like, I stopped driving to work every day, and I took the commuter bus so I can work on my blog to and from work. I did not take like a regular lunch breaks. I was working through my lunch break when I needed equipment or something to better my business. I remember one time, it was for a while, but like I had like peanut butter sandwiches at work, like eating for lunch. And I remember this one person like tried to play me, was like, you're 30 years old and you're eating a peanut butter sandwich. And I'm like, yeah, I'm saving my money for something else. Like, I bring my lunch to work every day so I can save money. Things happen in life when you have kids and a family. The night before, I didn't get to make like a proper meal. So in the morning, it was, you're choosing to make that sacrifice. I'm going to make this peanut butter sandwich that I have at home, or I'm going to go to work and spending $25 on lunch that I can use towards something for myself. So it's just trusting the process and realizing you've put all this hard work into something, like
Yeah.
reap those benefits. And it's hard sometimes, I feel like, especially like for me, like as a first generation American immigrant child, like to come and like be like, oh, you can do this, you know, it's like, this is why your parents moved here and all these things, but it's still kind of like, is this real life? Like, these types of lives, they don't happen to people like me, like, you know, but it's like
Right.
trusting that process and normalizing people like me being able to have this type of success.
And Monet, the one thing that I love so much about like what it is that you're doing is the fact, like I call you, to me, you're literally incognito. You're James Bond. Like you are doing so much on the back end that people don't even know that you got going on. Like your grind, your focus, and actually you were the first person we met at a conference, TravelCon, like 3 years ago. And I actually interviewed her, did nothing with that interview. And that was my first time even going up to somebody and was like, hey, can I interview you? Never did anything with it. I should try to find that video. But I knew, I saw you while you were even at that conference, how you were just like grinding, like you was over there introducing yourself, meeting people. And that's one thing that it takes, even as a travel blogger, for what we do as our profession, is that it's about the networking, it's about the sacrifice and things like that as well. With all that being said, what are some of the mistakes or obstacles that you've had to overcome since starting your brand?
Yes, you can come in. Hello. I'm on Instagram Live.
This is 2020, y'all.
Okay.
And we got the babies coming in saying, hey,
Like,
which one is that?
Like, are you coming or are you leaving? Are you just putting your stuff away? Okay. Oh, you're putting your luggage away. She's pretending that it's luggage, but it's just
I love it. I love it.
And all right, she's working her way over here. I'm sorry. Okay, what was this question? I'm sorry.
Yeah, so what are some of the mistakes or obstacles that you've had to overcome through this journey since starting?
Ooh. I would say like saying yes to too many things sometimes, and like this has been my word for 2020 was bold, and now my word for 2021 I think it's going to be no. But the reason why is because I feel like sometimes, especially as entrepreneurs, like we're trying to succeed so much because like we, you know, it's like, okay, that means I have to go back and like get the job that I had before, or you know, you get used to like a certain lifestyle and it's like going back, and not that it would be a failure because anything that you've accomplished is a success, but sometimes I feel like because of the industry that we're in and the pressures that we have, it's kind of like, oh, well, I have to say yes to all these things because I never know when the next thing is coming up. But that is how people in this industry get burnt out. And I feel like sometimes I said yes to brands or something where like they were pushing for extra deliverables, and like I knew that it really wasn't worth what they were paying, but it was just like I want to work with them so bad, so I'll just accept it, but then ending up regretting that in the long run. And I think oftentimes we want to succeed so much and we want to work with all these different types of people that we sell ourselves short. And for me now, I'm like, no, I'm not going to sell myself short. Like I know my worth and I'm going to push back. And yes, I am super thankful for the brands that want to work with me. But at the same point, like I can't spread myself so thin and give so much of myself when it's not reciprocated. So me just learning to say no, me learning to push back, like, and I would say also like when you start with that, a lot of times you're so focused on, oh my God, someone wants to work with me. It's like not learning the legal aspects and like the terminology that are put into contracts. And that stuff is really important because we can end up giving away things that we shouldn't because we don't understand that. So I would say that, and also learning when to delegate. Like I'm a control freak. I know that. I know. And thanks to you, I finally have an intern. Yes. But it took me way too long to be like, you know what, sis?
Yeah.
You do everything by yourself all
Come
the
on.
time. You need help. So
yes.
it's learning that balance of like when to bring some help on, when to delegate and like release control and understand it will be okay.
Oh my gosh. And we have somebody coming on. We have Evie coming on another podcast on Friday, and she's going to talk about building a team. And that if it wasn't for Evie, I don't think I would be in this place to even tell you to even go get an intern. So like
Well,
Evie is
because this intern is life.
it's so much better. Like I met with my babies today, man. It was so much fun. I really enjoy them. Hey, so real quick, so you talked about brands. You talked about like working with them, and then like even the ones that you didn't work with, but still, like, what is it like working with the brand? I know people are like asking because I know that there's some people out there that are just getting into the game and they're trying to get their first brand deal. Like, what is it like working with a brand?
It's exciting, it's nerve-wracking, it's all these things because it's like, you know, you work so hard to work with the brand and then the brand actually wants to work with you and then you're like, oh my God, I have to perform so well. You know, it's that pressure now because it's like, you're not just doing this for fun. Like, yes, it's fun, but you're also doing this to represent them. So it's just like making sure that you are on top of everything. And listen, like life is hard, like things come up, like believe me, I had dropped the ball before, like we've all done it.
Yeah.
Just trying to communicate with them as much as possible and apologizing if something goes wrong. But it's life and none of us are perfect. So like trying not to dwell on those moments and just learning from them for the next partnership that you work on. But really just like being transparent. For me personally, like a lot of stuff is done through email, but I like hopping on the phone with people who are getting on the call because to me, that's building that relationship, and long-term relationships when you're working with brands, I feel like are the best, both for the brand and for you as a creator, because, you know, it speaks to your community when you're constantly talking about something that you're truly passionate about.
Yeah.
And you're going to get the best ROI, and so is the brand. So it's exciting to work with brands. You definitely learn a lot. And also realizing that every brand is not for you, and like it's okay to say no. And if you're accepting everything that's coming your way, you're probably accepting way too much because there's no way that everything is perfect for you.
Totally. And y'all, Monet has worked with some really big brands, like straight up, like some of the people, they're like household name brands. And I remember when I first met her, and then I got on her page, and I was like, she's doing everything. What? This is incredible. But I'm telling you, it also comes back down to your niche. It also comes down to the quality of content that makes brands want to work with you. And so my one question is, what drives this hustle that you have?
I'm Jamaican. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I've had a job since I was like 13 years old. When I was a senior in high school, I worked an actual full-time job. Like I worked 40 hours on top of taking classes at a community college because I was in a dual enrollment program. I had like 6 jobs in college. Let me tell you how much I'm a hustler. One time I was extra broke in college, and I won't say the person's name, but she knows who she is. And she worked at a job, and I didn't have a job at the time. And she wanted to go to the Orlando Classic and didn't have anyone to work for her. So I did not work at the company. But I worked her shift at her job. She worked at an apartment building at the front desk. So I worked the shift at her job. So she can go and I can get paid, and then she would pay me cash from her paycheck. So that is probably illegal. Y'all don't want to anybody. I think it's too late now. Hopefully the statute of limitations have passed. But honestly, like I think it's just the work ethic that like my parents instilled in me. I saw like my dad, he owns his own business as well. He's owned it for the past 20 years. And like he used to work in communications. He served in the military, and then he worked in communications during like the 2002-ish recession. He lost his job. He was out of work. And then he just like completely switched industries and opened his own business. And I saw like all the hard work and like effort that he put into that. So yeah, I think I've just I mean, I was an athlete. I played 4 sports in high school. So
Monet.
I just always been like that.
I love it. And one thing though, just for like cultural reference. So like when people say they're Jamaican, like it is this stigma. There's even SNL skits about it.
Yes.
But like, or not SNL, it was Color Purple. No, what is it? In Living Color. That's what it was. But it was talking about like Jamaicans have like 8 jobs.
Yeah, we do.
So,
we just do.
and I tried to like, well, I'd be like, no, but then I grew up around a whole bunch of Jamaicans because I'm from Florida, and yeah, it's true. They work, they really do work hard, and I love it, and I really do. So we are getting ready to wrap up, but I added something to this episode that I want to add to the rest of the episodes, and so my last 2 questions is, talk. How about we give some words of encouragement? You know what? Let's stop. I'm actually going to go back it up. What are you inspired to do, be, and have for 2021?
So for 2021, I would like to scale my business. Like I'm still working on releasing control and like building a team so I can be the most successful I can be. Like I have a children's book. It's supposed to be a series, yet I only have 1 book because 2020, and I really want to write the 2nd book. And have that, and my community keeps asking for me to host group trips. It was on my 2020 vision board, but pandemic. So that is something I would like to grow into in 2021 as well. And look at my book. Thank you, Jeff.
I've been wanting to give a. Oh, you know what? I'll do it right now. So the first person to DM me their address, I will send them a copy of this children's book. It is such an amazing children's book. I like it. Actually, the first 2 people that can DM me, do it after this though, because I want y'all. No, go ahead. Just go there now. It's fine. Yeah, go there now, and I'm going to give away this 2 copies because I think I bought 3 of them. So yeah, I'm going to give it away. So just say, hey Jeff, I want a copy, and those first 2 people on there will get a copy. Okay, and then we're going to end with, because that all sounds phenomenal, and I definitely know that you can do it. Let's do some words of encouragement. I want you to just talk to the people real quick, like how, like just inspire them or motivate them for 2021.
Honestly, just like anything that you want to happen can happen if you put the work in. You know, I am a huge believer in manifestation. I have a vision board every single year. And manifesting is great, and so are vision boards, but you just have to put in the work to do it. And
yes,
it is hard. Like, I'm not here to tell you it's easy. As I said, like, I was taking the bus to work so I could work on my blog to and from work. I was staying up until 2 o'clock in the morning after I put my kids to bed so I could work on my business because it was something that I was passionate about. Like, things are going to happen. But like the moment you give up is the moment that tomorrow could have been the day that you got your break. So it's like, just keep striving. As long as it's something that you're passionate about, it will work out because, you know, as they say, hard work beats talent any day, because it's the people that don't give up who are the ones that are most successful. And like, you know, being in this industry, like there are tons of content creators, and there are people that like start and then like all of a sudden you just see that like their pages are stagnant, they stop, and it's just because they've given up. Like my thing is like, I am nobody special at all. Like I have 0 background in photography, in journalism, in writing, like in anything at all. Just being passionate about something, you will continue to grow and learn. Like honestly, I read my original, like my first blog post, and I cringe. I'm like, oh my God, I wrote that, and then I'm like, oh my God, somebody thought this was helpful. And it's like, you know, that's where sometimes it's like focusing just on the education of the content that you're providing is better than a lot of times the delivery, because the people that are trying to learn from you, like they're not expecting you to be on like HBO level status.
Right.
Like no one is expecting that. Like be yourself and work up to that, and don't think like you, like I feel like so many people are like, oh, but the industry is so saturated, or someone's doing so well. Okay, they did not start like that. Like no one in this industry started like at that level. We all work towards it. So just don't give up on yourself. And if it's something that you really want to do, like find classes or find different ways that you can improve on your craft.
Yeah.
And, you know, you find a pain point and you address it. And the people that have that same pain point will find you and they'll be interested in your content, whether it's the most like Insta worthy or not, or whether you have grammatical errors at first or not, or whatever the case may be, is because you will grow. So just honestly, never give up. There are bad days, but the good days by far overshadow the bad ones. And if it's something you want to do, you will do it and you will be successful at it.
Yo, what? That was so good. I'm definitely adding this to every episode now. Like Monet started it because these podcasts and these IG lives are for you. I hope that you all can be inspired and to move into 2021 with just this zeal and this passion and creativity and just motivation. And we really do believe that. Monet, thank you so much for being here. Go ahead and just let everybody know where they can like follow you at. Yeah, please.
Thank you so much for having me, Jeff. So you can follow me on Instagram at The Traveling Child. I also just started a TikTok, also at The Traveling Child. Maybe I shouldn't be covering this. I don't know.
Do it. Yes.
And then my website is thetravelingchild.co. And as Jeff said, I do have a children's book. So if you're looking to get any Christmas gifts, holiday gifts for the kiddies, it's a great option. And I love your support. But thank you so much, Jeff, for having me.
Thank you. Thank y'all so much for being here. Hey, make sure y'all stay tuned. And I didn't tell anybody this, but my brother actually is the guest that I'm having on today at
I saw Jenkins,
6.
and I was like,
yeah, at 6 p.m. 5 p.m. Central. 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central. He is a celebrity bodyguard, and he has his own bodyguarding business. And he's had it longer than I had Chubby Diaries. So he has some of the greatest like tips and tricks to like his professionalism, and he has stories for days, and he's hilarious. I don't think he's going to be that funny on here today because he's going to try to be serious, and I'm going to have to make him laugh. But really quick, I just want to thank y'all so much. We have 6 more podcasts that are lives that I'm going to be doing this week. But real quick, Monet, I think somebody had a question, and we're technically done. But really quick, as a small business, I always wonder if big influencers accept low budget deals if the mission is right.
oh, well, I don't consider myself a big influencer, but thank you. And yes, I do. For me, like, if I can help out a small business, I will. Of course, it always depends. Like, I'll be completely honest. It always depends on the approach, on how you ask. But I've worked with small businesses where, my rate is nowhere near what it is for bigger brands, because I really believe in the business, especially for me. Like, if I connect with you on a certain, level, maybe because we're both moms or entrepreneurs or whatever the case may be. Yes, but again, I think it's all about the delivery. Like, to be honest, like, I'm just like, I hope this doesn't come off the wrong way, but like, some people will like not even follow somebody and then like hit them up in their DMs and being like, hey, can you give me a shout out, for free? Like, I need you to do like an Instagram post and stories and like all these things where it's like, you didn't even say hello to me first. Like, I am a person, like, so yes. I would just say, like, for me, it's just all about the approach. But I have people in my community that have their own businesses, and I shouted them out on Insta stories or even shouted them out on my feed before. It's not like a true proper, like, like post or something like that, but building that relationship for me and like building that community, like, they support me. So like, I'm going to support them, because if it wasn't for them, like, I couldn't operate my business the way that I do. So I think for me personally, it's all about giving back to my community in any way that I can help them. I definitely will. But I think it's just all about the way that you approach someone. And if it's just like take and not give when, you can't afford to pay or whatever the case may be, then that's where someone may not want to do it. But yeah, I've done it multiple times, and I'm all about supporting other entrepreneurs if I can.
Like, for me, it usually comes back down to my time. Like, how much time will it take to actually do it? The deliverables. So meaning, like, what is it that you're asking for me to give? So if it's like you need 2 Instagram stories and 1 like feed post, like we have to talk about that. Like, that's the thing. A lot of times, especially with the smaller brands, I can do Instagram stories all day. I do consider my Instagram in feed like way more sacred, in the sense that, like, hey, not everybody is going to be on this, because like it's real estate in a lot of ways. And so that's what people are mainly seeing anyway. It gets tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of impressions. So I usually try to save those for like people that do. But there are ways that we can like work together doing IG lives. And I would say, please, y'all, please don't randomly ask me or Monet to just post something for you. Just randomly. Like, hey, post this. Like, what? No. Like, wait, no. I actually don't do that. Like, so many people do that. Like, hey, man, would you post this? Like, just randomly. And it has nothing to do with, like, my stories of the day. And, like, sometimes I try to, like, make a story out of the stories. Like, this is the beginning.
Like yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, like, there's a beginning and the end to it. So, please, like, I mean, if it's not going with the story, guys, that doesn't help. But also find out ways, and I would say this to people as well, especially small brands, is one way of building a great relationship with us is by coming to us and asking us, like, hey, how can we help you? Like, that is such a great way to build like a relationship. Like, hey, I know you want us to help y'all, and y'all are busy too. We understand that. But it definitely can go a long way, especially if you don't have that budget of like, how can we help you out? And so those are really good things to keep in mind. And even when it comes down to a smaller brand, working with some of these smaller nano influencers, they're saying for 2021 that micro and nano influencers are going to be the big thing for this year, that brands should definitely start working with micro, which I am, and then nano influencers, which is like 5,000 and under, because their engagement is so good. And so, yeah, just keep all that in mind. Sometimes you don't need the big brands. Sometimes you need those 5,000 and under, because they just got they have all of their people like looking at their stuff. So
yeah, and I would just say, yeah, just making sure that whatever you're asking of them like is in line with their content and the stuff that they typically post. As you said, because making sure that it's a fit for their community is going to be mostly beneficial to you as well as a brand. So
yeah, perfect. Well, y'all, thank y'all so much again. Thank you for staying on just a little bit longer. The first 3 podcasts are now available on all the major streaming platforms.
Let's go.
So they're released today, and then we'll release the next 4 on next Tuesday, the 22nd, and then the last 3 on the 29th. So we're trying to prep you. This is just a limited series, but I have more, and I'm going to have Monet on again, because I am totally planning to do like a whole new kind of podcast that's going to be fantastic. So thank you again, Monet. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Thank y'all for everybody who gave some badges. Give me some hearts real quick for Monet. And y'all, thank y'all. Have a good day.
All right, Jeff. Bye.
Bye-bye. We did it, y'all. We did it. Hey, tune in again, y'all, at 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central. My little brother is coming on. He's not little. He's really big. He's really buff, but he is a celebrity bodyguard. I can't wait to see y'all there. Enjoy the rest of y'all day. Peace.